Hello. Today I'll be bringing you guys my final variant for my Blood Mage Spark build in the .4 patch. A few days ago I came up with my final update on my Mana Stack Pathfinder Spark build, but if you wanted to just push the damage, then Blood Mage is the ascendancy, whereas, as I've said previously in my Pathfinder video, if you want more quality of life, more defenses, more self-sustain, then you'd go Pathfinder. But in this video, I will show you big numbers, because everyone likes big numbers. Additionally, the reason I have two Spark builds is because Spark is probably the best skill in the game. Everyone knows it. It's been like that in PoE 1 also, but as you can see, it has massive screen-wide coverage. Ignore the depletion of my life. Since I'm a Blood Mage, I instantly recover that through these gloves. But yeah, I don't really see a better skill that can even be designed better than Spark. So if any nerfs come down the line in the .5 patch to either life stack or mana stack, then I have a build that will survive. And the reason I put some effort into the Blood Mage variant is because hopefully in the .5 patch, GGG will come to a better conclusion on life stack versus energy shield. So for some reason they are holding steady with adding a bunch of energy shield on the tree, and that allows people to get 20k 30k energy shield, where life builds, ignore this 9k, but typical life builds have like 4,000 life, or if you're stacking strength, like 5,000 life. So that's obviously a massive discrepancy, and so potentially in future patches, hopefully in the .5 patch, they will either nerf energy shield on the tree, or what I potentially believe might happen is they will add a decent amount of increased life onto the tree. And if that is the case, then Blood Mage will get even better. Although, as we're talking about predictions, Blood Mage is an insane ascendancy. Like, these four nodes are extremely, or not this node, it's good, but these three nodes are so synergistic, it's insane. Like, leeching life while having a life-based ascendancy with crit and crit multi is the most, I don't know, it's very, very broken. So, even though I do believe that life builds will be buffed in future patches, I'm not sure how much the ascendancy will stay intact. But that's here nor there. I will show you what I did to the build. So previously, I was just, I don't know, a normal Spark build, lightning based, because Spark is lightning, but I have since changed that to be more defensive. So in this life variant of Spark, I am running Combs, and I am running Veil of the Night. This is making it so that I have 0 resistance. This is pretty detrimental, because this means I'm taking 4 times the amount of elemental damage when mapping or bossing. Although I do have a large life pool, I am significantly less tanky than other Spark builds that have resistance. So to counteract that, the first thing is Spark can off-screen targets, so even if or mobs won't even be able to see me half the time, so they won't even be able to hit me half the time. But also, I am changing Spark into basically a cold skill. And how I'm doing that is I am socking in Embitter. And this is converting all my as extra damage to cold. And as you can see, this is making it so that my Spark does 60% cold damage. And some sources of as extra is on my 1. This is giving me like 120 as extra of various different stats, and then this is being converted to cold. Also, my bloodletting is giving me as extra physical damage, but then that's also being converted into cold. And my final source of as extra is Heart of the Well. So all this additional as extra is all being converted to cold, again, making me mainly do cold damage. And this is really, really good. Again, going back to, this build is not very tanky, so I can off-screen targets so they don't hit me, but also I can freeze targets if they happen to survive, as you will see in this map showcase. As you can see, mobs are exploding into ice crystals, and if they don't explode instantly, then they're being frozen. It's hard to see that they're being frozen, but I can assure you they are. So like, also another thing, even if they, like that mob just got frozen, and that mob just got frozen, the rare mobs that aren't getting one-shot, and even if they don't get instantly frozen, even if they're not getting frozen, I also am scaling magnitude on this build, so my chill is always a 50% chill on every single target, even if they don't get frozen. So all that combines to make a not very defensive build fairly defensive. And I will show you that on bosses. It is pretty much the same thing. For bosses, I have temp chains, and again, I have chill magnitude, a lot of it, and I can freeze targets. So bosses will not be able to cast anything because they are slowed by a huge amount. And yeah, so it's pretty good. This is a good enough map showcase. You guys know what Spark looks like. I will head off and show you a boss. So here is a boss example. This is a Max Zesh. He's popping up, and I will show you. So here you can see I have a 94% shock, and since it's a pinnacle boss, you can't chill him for 50, but the max is 25. So I'm chilling him for the max, and you can see this is the freeze buildup. So it only takes, I don't know, 2-3 seconds to build up a max freeze, which is right now. I do a lot of damage, so he's basically dead before the freeze hits, but as you can see, he is slowed by 25%, he is slowed by 31%, he has a max, almost max shock, and he's frozen. So, again, in future patches, when bosses have more HP than, whatever, 14 million HP, and they can actually survive, it will be very defensive. So, that's a boss. Now, I will get to the changes I made to the build. So, maybe fortunately, maybe unfortunately, PoE 2 has somewhat turned into PoE 1 in that Adorn and or super long pathing on the outermost part of the passive tree is really good. So since they buffed Adorn, I only have a 120%. You can get higher than this. It goes up to 150 if you want to spend multiple mirrors on it. But this is increasing my jewels that look like this, and all of them look like this. So it's crit bonus and magnitude of ailments. This is increasing the amount of chill that I give targets and the amount of shock that I give targets, which is how I can have a 94% shock on bosses. And since I am running a Wrath Pit Globe, this is Legacy, but I will show you a POB of non-Legacy. You can still get 100% crit chance. Since crit chance is basically covered, basically through Wrath Pith, you're basically just wanting to allocate crit bonus, and so these jewels are insane, and then it's being multiplied by the Adorn, the newly buffed Adorn. So I will now talk about how this build gets damage. So already talked about Wrath Pith. So the reason we can allocate a tree that looks like this, I mean, it looks kind of stupid, kind of, because you're pathing everywhere. It's an Adorn build, so it's going to look like that. But the reason we can do it is because there's a lot of stats on this build that are not good. So, like, for example, this plus 12 lightning damage gives us basically nothing, again, because we're running Wrath Pith. And Wrath Pith, even non-Legacy, gives a ton of spell damage. So on the tree, I do not pick up increased damage because my Legacy Wrath Pith at least gives 1100% damage. So that's, what, like 80 different passive points? So there's no reason to pick up increased damage on the tree. Again, Wrath Pith I don't pick up any crit chance on the tree because Wrathpith is giving me 100% crit chance. This is different than Wrathpith, but the as extra damage, I already talked about that. Having a really good wand gives just close to 120% extra added damage. So this is all coming from my wand, although you can't even pick it up on the tree if you wanted to, because there's only a few nodes that give as extra damage. For cast speed, you can pick up cast speed on the tree, but since we're a blood mage, if you cast really fast, then you basically kill yourself because the life cost is really high. So I'm picking up a little bit of cast speed, like here I'm picking up cast speed, but a majority of the cast speed on the tree isn't really worth it. Like, I pick up this because it's all upside, because since I'm casting with life, the mana cost is not a downside. So I'm picking up this and this, but that's the only cast speed I'm picking up. Everything else comes from just really good rings and wand and amulet. As for plus levels, I get a +3 on my amulet, +5 or 6 on my wand, and a +3 from a jewel. And then I already talked about this, but Adorn is giving me increased shock value and increased crit multi, and that's a majority of my crit multi and definitely a majority of my shock value. And the only other scalable metric when it comes to damage is Lightning Pen. So you could pick up Lightning Pen on the tree. It's like down here or whatever. But GGG for some reason made it so that Rakiatas is not nerfed. So yeah, every single build is going to run Rakiatas if it is its and if it remains in its current state. So yeah, that is covering our resistance penetration. So I guess I will show you the gear one by one. Here's my wand. It's good. Acuity. This potentially might be replaceable. So this instant leech can be gotten elsewhere through an anoint or through a jewel. And that would allow you to run a higher life pair of gloves and or a modifier that increases the effect of socketed items. So this potentially could be upgraded, but this is what I run currently. Here is my ring. You're looking for cast speed again. That's I guess all the stats on this are pretty good, I guess. So this is where we're getting all of our chaos resist. This is where we're getting a ton of our cast speed. This is where we're getting rarity because every single build requires rarity, and then we're a life build, so having additional life is nice, even though this doesn't give like a huge percentage compared to the other stats that the thing gives. And then this is getting being mirrored, and you have an ingenuity, and even in league, as I will show you in a sec, you will still be running an ingenuity that will be multiplying a really good ring. Here's my amulet, basically same thing, plus levels, crit bonus, and cast speed with life. This gives spell damage, which you get something else, because we already have, like I said, over 1,000 spell damage, so it's not giving us that much damage, but whatever. We are running Veil of the Night, just because the synergy between Comb's Heart and Veil of the Night, at least in the current meta, is too good to give up, so that's what I'm running. Here's the boots. It's just basically giving us life and movement speed, basically nothing else. And then Legacy Wrathpith. So that is the build. The final thing I will show is the POB. So here is the POB. We do 18 million DPS, which is 3.3 times as much as my Pathfinder build. But, as I've said, this is way, way less tanky, and the mobility is not very strong. While mapping, the mobility is a non-issue because you can tap Spark and it only slows you down for like a marginal part of a second. So you can still map without like allocating nodes like this where you have reduced movement speed penalty. So currently I'm picking up none of that because it's not even worth it for me, especially when mapping. And this is a mainly mapping character, so that's why I'm not picking it up. But this is just to say that Pathfinder can cast while moving, and it has a ton of self-sustain. But again, big number is nice, so yes, this is why we're playing Blood Mage. We do 3.3 times damage. This is the Legacy variant. This is the tree, but I'll show you non-legacy. So non-legacy, you're using a non-legacy Wrathpith, and also you are using a non-legacy Ingenuity, and you still get up to over 8 million, 8.5 million DPS with just Spark, which is more than enough damage to do anything in the game. So, yep, those are the numbers, and that is my final update for the 0.4 patch. As I said at the beginning of the video, I do believe that there is some pretty high potential for life builds to be buffed in the next patch, so this build might get buffed, although, again, Blood Mage is an insane ascendancy. It is, yeah, top 3 minimum best ascendancy in the game. Oracle's really good, Blood Mage is really good, and then I would say Pathfinder's really good, or Pathfinder. So, might be on the nerf table, but hopefully GGG buffs the other ascendancies to be equally as synergistic as Blood Mage. So, that's my video. Hope you enjoyed. Peace.